Hello, namaste, and good evening, everyone. My name is Ayusha Mishra, and I'll be your host for today's session. We are absolutely thrilled to have you all here for this so much anticipated webinar on Play to Win Game of Selling. In today's competitive and the ever evolving world of sales, it's not just about what you're selling, it's about how you're selling it, how you're showing up, and what is the aura you choose to sell. This session is designed to go beyond the traditional talk tracks and dive deep into the psychology, mindset, and personal presence that truly thrive success in selling. And we'll be exploring the full spectrum of what it takes to truly play to win. And to lead us through this journey, we are honored to be joined by an industry stalwart who has not only led transformations but also built systems and frameworks that continue to shape high performing sales teams across the country. Please join me in welcoming our esteemed speaker, Mr. Ritesh Sharma. Hello, Mr. Ritesh. On behalf of my whole team of Education Nest, I welcome you to this platform today on this live webinar that has been anticipated from a very, very long time. And we are very honored to have you here with us on this platform. Before we move ahead, sir, I would like my to give my audience a small brief intro about you. Mr. Ritesh Sharma is currently heading Learning and Development at Enquest Laboratories, where he has successfully created sales focused e learning frameworks, leadership modules, and onboarding programs like ePathshala and SEED that have reached 100% participation and strong learning outcomes. His journey spans over 2 decades across leading organizations such as Cipla, MCure, Dr. Lal Path Labs, Otsuka Pharma, Bharti Airtel, and Aircel, where he's also built structured coaching modules like Build, LMS ecosystem like Gyan Connect, and competency roadmaps like Pragati. What sets him apart is his approach to sales learning as both a science and an emotion, mixing frameworks, field experience, storytelling, and psychology. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Ritesh Sharma. Hello, sir. Hello again. Welcome again to this platform.
Yeah, so thank you for such a nice introduction. I think most of the people who know me, they know me that I am more a salesperson by heart and then a sales training manager. And today's session, which I am talking about, it is the game of selling. And I think it's a very, very common topic when the first thought strikes to many people. They said that selling is more about processes, selling is more about structured methodology. But today, why I took this, why I'm taking this session, because today I will not only talking about the process and the methodology, but I am also focusing on the mindset because sales is more of a mindset game, which I believe. So I started my career from sales, as you have rightly mentioned in my introduction, and then moved into the sales training part. So I exactly understand how a salesperson feels every time he achieves something, every time there is a rejection from the customer. So the mindset of a salesperson is very, very important when it comes to game of selling. So today I will be more focusing on realizing the true potential of me. Me means my salesperson or any of the sales employee, how the things works at a mindset level rather than talking about the methodology or any particular sales structure. So I think this 1 hour will be going to be very, very interesting. I know you cannot ask questions directly, but please keep your questions parked and I will be very happy to answer these questions after finishing this session. So I'm just presenting my slides.
To everyone who has any questions from Sir during the presentation, as you all know, we are always open to questions. You can post those questions in the live chat, and at the end of the session, we'll be taking them up one by one. So, I'm handing over this session to you, sir. Now it's all yours.
Thank you very much. I hope my slide is visible to everyone.
Yes, sir, it is.
Yeah. So the topic itself says we play to win. Now, when I say play, so there is obviously we are playing and we are playing to win. So there is no chance a salesperson can expect to lose any game. So in the entire day, what we do, we not only do the sales processes, we not only go for sales call for meeting a customer, but we play every time. Either we win or either we lose. So when I say play, so let us take an example of soccer. So most of the people I know in India relate to cricket, but I'm taking example of soccer. So when I say what are the qualities we need as a player of soccer, so many of you will say that the qualities we need is good passing, good communication, knowing about our strength, knowing about the competitor strength, defining the strategy, planning first, right? And then what is the purpose? To score the goal. That is exactly why we play any particular game, right? But today I will be talking about things which are very, very important in game of soccer also and in game of sales also. Yes, your personality, your grit, your determination, your mental mindset. So this we talk even in cricket also. So many a times a very, very good player also can't perform. So a lot of mental toughness is required. So today what I will be talking about the mindset game, which is very, very important to understand to win this game, right? So everyone, everywhere doing sales, either in back end or either in forefront, they always play to win, and that is the motto. So let us see how we can improve our chances of winning at every customer. So today I will be talking about self awareness and management. I will be talking about realizing your true potential. What is the true potential of you as a salesperson? So which is very, very important, right? Now, this is the slide I want everybody to focus, which are levels of self discovery, right? I know this is something for many of you, many of the topics are covered, but this is something which I want everyone to focus on. I hope my slide is visible to everyone. So when I say levels of self-discovery, so today I want you to reach from level 0 to level 3. So once you realize your own potential, it becomes very, very easy to score over your competitor, to convert your customer, and to reach the end consumer. So what you see on the screen are levels. So when we start any conversation, when we start anything from zero, it is called level 0, which is label. The second one is level 1, which is personality. The third one is capability, and the level 3, which is the innermost layer, is called identity. Now I explain you in detail. When I talk about these all levels, this is just like an onion. So when you peel up any onion, you get different layers, and finally you get the innermost layer. So similarly, in any of the sales conversation which we do, you start from level 0. How? Let us do an
Uh,
activity.
Sorry to disturb you in between, sir. I guess there is a little background noise. If your phone voice is on, I will request you to mute it since there are two voices coming.
Okay, right.
Yes.
So let us assume a small activity which we can do to prepare a visiting card. So think of 5 words that can capture how people know you. This could include your name, physical features, education, profession, background, look, and features. So normally in a classroom setup, when I ask my trainees to prepare a visiting card, so most of the people, they capture information including these pointers only: name, physical features, education, looks and features, right? Maybe the logo, right? So this is how level 0 belongs to. So when we start our conversation with our customer, we are just labels. We are at a level 0. Customer know us by our visiting card. They do not know anything about us, about our company, except the brand name, or except some unique feature, or except something which is very, very unique to our company, or very, very unique to us. So my point is, if I go back to the slide, so level 0. So most of our customers are lying at level 0. We are just labels for them, right? So from labels, we need to move on to level 1, which is personality. Now you will ask me, what is personality? So personality is your inner trait. Inner trait, something which you are good at, which is your strength, right? So L1 is your strength. So there is a very beautiful book called Strength Finder by Ray and Clifton. So I would love if I think many of the audience would have read this. So it's a scientific test based book where you will be tested on a questionnaire, and out of 34 unique strengths. Now these strengths are divided into execution, influence, relationship building, and strategy. And under each label, there comes different strength. So out of 34 strength, when you go to the strength finder test, there are 5 strength which will be find out basis upon the assessment you have filled on the real time basis, right? So for example, if I talk about myself, so my 5 strength which came from the strength finder test is communicator, woo, empathy, individualization, and positivity, right? So once you understand your strength areas, your personality, then only you will be able to go to level 2, which is capability, right? So next 15 minutes, I will be talking about different personalities. So as a individual, as a salesperson, you should know what should be your personality, right? So these are the 4 dimensions of personality. So if I talk about dimensions of personality, there is an assessment. I can share the questionnaire with you. So this is a questionnaire. So there are set of 16 questions which I normally use to identify the personality of a person. And once identified, broadly, they come into 4 dimensions. If I talk about these 4 dimensions, they are either thinking type or feeling type. People are either action oriented or reflection oriented. So these are the 2 dimensions of the personality. And then we have introvert versus extrovert, and detail oriented versus big picture focus, right? So based on the assessment which you do, you need to find your personality, your strength area, whether you are more of thinking type, so or whether you are more of feeling type, right? When you are more of thinking type, you are more logical, more analytical. When you are more of feeling type, you are good in making relationship, you are good in empathy, right? Similarly, there is area of opportunity to improve. When you are thinking type, you can practice greater empathy, and if you are feeling type, you you are telling people unpleasant things which they need to do, right? So you need to take sometimes the hard decisions. Similarly, action versus reflection. So a person who is action oriented, they get think faster. If reflection oriented, so they look newer perspectives and better ways of collaboration, right? Similarly, if I talk about introvert versus extrovert, so again, their merits and demerits are there, and big picture versus detail oriented, right? So majorly your personality will fall into this grid. So once you understand what is your strength area, then you will be able to perform better in front of your customer, in front of your consumer, right? So basis on these four dimensions, you need to identify what is the key strength for you, what is the opportunity for you, and what you can balance more. So for example, if your personality is action oriented, so you have an opportunity to have some reflection oriented personality also in some of the work, and there are some areas where you can work upon. So these strength you need to find, the area of improvement you need to find, and how you can balance this, right? Now if I talk about L1 and L2 together, now L1 is your strength area, which is your preference, while L2 is your capability, which you can improve either by training or either by mentoring or either by coaching. So this is the competency or the skill which you can improve, right? So अगर मैं आप लोगों को बिल्कुल हिंदी भाषा में समझाऊं, L1 which is preference और strength area is मौका मिले तो, while L2 is कैपेबिलिटी, कॉम्पिटेंसी, जरूरत पड़े तो, राइट? सो जब मैं प्रेफरेंस की बात करता हूं, सो इट इज योर स्ट्रेंथ एरिया, मौका मिले तो. सो लाइक इन क्रिकेट, इफ सहवाग को मौका मिले ऑफ साइड की बॉल, सो ही विल प्ले स्ट्रोक. बट सिमिलरली इफ द सेम ball comes to Rahul Dravid, he will defend it rather than playing a stroke, because the capabilities and the strength of both Rahul and Sehwag are different. But if we reverse the scenario, zarurat pade to, Sehwag is playing in English conditions and the ball is swinging, then Sehwag has to defend also. Similarly, Rahul Dravid is playing in IPL conditions, right? Then he needs to play these shots also, because this is a limited number over game, 20-over game, right? So you need to match your L1 and L2 together. While you need to play on L1, which is your strength, you also need to balance your L2. And when you combine your L1 and L2, then comes your sweet spot. Now you will be wondering, what is the sweet spot? Now sweet spot in cricket is that spot on the bat जहां पे बॉल लगती है और शॉट सीधे 6 के लिए जाता है, राइट? सो दैट स्वीट स्पॉट यू हैव टू डेवलप इन योरसेल्फ by combining your L1 and L2. When I say L1 and L2, your strength and developing your competencies. So जहां पे वो मैच करेंगी, that is your sweet spot. Is it clear? So that is the understanding as a trainer, as a sales training manager, I want to give, that play on your strength and build on your capabilities, which are your competencies, right? So you are very good in relationship building, but your communication skills you need to develop. So once you develop this and you have a very good relationship building, ultimately you will be able to create more customers. You will be able to do more meaningful conversations. Right. I think this is very, very important for salespeople to understand their preferences and to understand their capabilities. Now, एक चीज है जो मैं सेल्स में हमेशा कहता हूं और मैं इसको मानता भी हूं, what brought you here will not take you there. जो स्किल्स आपको यहां तक लेके आई हैं वही स्किल्स आपको आगे नहीं ले जाएंगे. आपको अपनी कैपेबिलिटीज को डेवलप करना पड़ेगा. राइट. So this is a very famous statement. So one set of skills has brought you to a level of area manager, to a level of RSM, to a level of sales head. But you need another set of skills to go to the next level. Here you need to develop your capability. You already have your strength area, right? Which is your mauka mile to. But what you need to develop? Zarurat pade to. Right. I always believe how you do anything is how you do everything. जैसा आप करते हो आप वैसा ही बिहेव बाकी जगह भी करते हो. Right. So normally when we do sessions on what we say activity based session or some games we do for the participant, the way participant behave in the games, that shows the real time what I say real time lifetime way how he behaves in the field or how he behaves in the office. Right. So many things are seen in the way you do the activity. Right. So very important. You have your preference, you understand your personality, what is my strength area, right? And once you are good in your strength area, develop your capabilities and then come to a point where you find your sweet spot, which is very important. Once you find your sweet spot, you will be able to do better negotiation with your customer. You will be able to do better conversation with your customer, and you are able to drive the entire call well, whether it is in B2B scenario or whether it is in B2C scenario. Right. Now the last L3 which I will be now going is very important. I hope most of you got the understanding of L1 and L2. Now we are diving more inside, which is the innermost layer, which is the core of any person, is L3. So if I go back to the slides, just a moment. So L3 is what? L3 is the innermost layer, which is your identity. Now this identity is your core also. So this is nothing but the self-talk which you do to your mind. And that is the reason when I started this session, I talk about sales is more of mindset. Since we are talking in this session about sales, but most of the work we do in any of the function, it is more of mental toughness. It is more of emotional maturity. So that is the reason I'm talking about level 3, which is the innermost layer, which is your identity. Right. And what is identity? Identity is what you talk to yourself, talk to your mind daily, either positive or either negative. This makes you a successful salesperson, an average salesperson, or a poor salesperson. Right. So identity is nothing but the self-talk which you do to yourself. Right. Now this self-talk is made up of our capability and potential. So whatever capability and potential we have, that has a very good, what I say, high impact on your self-talk. So if you are at a very good capability and your strength is also very good, most of the time you will be talking to yourself in a positive way. So I'm sharing some of the helpful and unhelpful self-talk which you do to yourself. And now this is very personal. This you need not tell to your mentor or coach. This is something which comes to your mind every day. Every day when you are sitting alone, this is the self-talk which is continuously going in your mind. Right? Nobody likes me. This is one of the self-talk which is very common. Right? But how you can convert I like me? I don't know. It's okay to ask. Mr. Neurotic, take one step at a time. So every self-talk can be converted into a negative self-talk can be converted into a positive self-talk. I am hopeless. How you can convert? I can make decision. Mr. Critic, I can do this. Mr. Confused, Mr. Performer, Mr. I'm confident in asking for the clarity. Mr. Procrastinator, do it now. Now, if you see the unhelpful creator, these are not created by anybody else from the environment. This is something which our mind is thinking because we are not doing well. So we are going into negative self-talk. And many a times I have seen in sales, especially, most of the people are continuously in the process of doing this self-talk. So as a salesperson, we need to convert this self-talk into positive self-talk, right? So continuously there is a fly on the wall, right? Continuously we are thinking the negative thoughts and the positive thoughts which are continuously going in our mind. So we need to stop those thought process. And how we can do this? So we every time we do self-talk, we are either focusing on the past or either we are worried about the future. Right. So this is one indication of whether you are doing negative self-talk or whether you are doing positive self-talk. Second, focusing only on the weakness. So many a times what happens, the feedback which you receive from your manager is more based on your weakness, not on your strength. So what happens? Your negative self-talk every time talk, I cannot do this, I cannot do good communication, I cannot convert my customer. So that is one of the reason of negative self-talk. Every time we are focusing only on the outcome rather than focusing on the process part, which is very, very important. We are only focusing on outcome, right? We are also focusing on uncontrollable factors. So for example, competition is very high. My product prices are very high. So these are some of the challenges which are not in our control. So for example, in one of the sessions when I asked salespeople in pharmaceutical that list down the challenges, they have filled the entire page. They have filled the entire flip chart. But when it comes to the real challenge, it is only one or two. Rest all the challenge are market based, environment based, and most importantly, none of the challenge belongs to them. None of the challenge are in their control, right? So this is how uncontrollable factors sometimes also leads to negative self-talk. Again, demanding perfection. So sometimes best of the performers also goes into negative self-talk because they want perfection in everything. But perfection is nothing but the ongoing journey which we are doing, right? So perfection as a word looks good, but as a process, it is an ever defining word, right? So you need to look for these important indicators. If these indicators are coming, then somewhere you are thinking about the negative self-talk. And mind it, this is the innermost core which hits you very hard. You are not comfortable discussing this with everyone, not even to your boss, not even to your friend, not even with your family sometimes. And that is the reason most of the times we as salespeople feel dejected. We as salespeople feel bad about ourselves. So it's nothing to feel bad. Just we need to convert our self-talk from negative to positive self-talk. Very, very important, right? Okay. Uh, so this is one part of the session which I want to talk about, talking about level 0, level 1, level 2, and level 3. So before moving on to the next session, I just want to say that just want to recap this that as a salesperson, you always start from label. So from level 0, you need to move to level 1 and level 2 and control your innermost feeling, which is level 3, right? So this is very much important as a mindset game. Fine. Now I move on to the another important thing, which is very important for a salesperson, is his behavior, right? So I am just explaining it with one of the example. So you are sitting in a cinema hall and some people in front of you are talking very loudly and giggling and you can't hear the film properly and you are starting to feel bad. Right. So in most of the cases, what you do, I know there is some set of audience who will be saying that, sir, we will be talking to them and strictly warn them that go to other seat. While some of the people will ignore them and they themselves change their seat. While some of the people will request them that we are also here to watch the movie. So please be quiet so that we both can enjoy the movie. Now, there are different set of opinions based on the environment on how we work. So let me show you. So these are the possible, what I say, the three conditions, how you can behave. So one is you can tap them gently on the shoulder. You can smile and say very politely, sir, please, could you be quieter because I can't hear the film. Right. So this is one way. Second way is you get angry and you say, shut up, and change the seat or go out of the picture hall. And third one is you try to ignore, right? And you yourself change the seat. So as a salesperson, sometimes we fall into these scenarios. So what is the best method according to you, right? So there are multiple answers to this, right? Based on this current situation, you can respond in three particular ways, right? One is you can respond assertively, right? By talking to them and taking a mutual decision. Second is you can respond aggressively. And third one is you yourself change your seat, right? Which is a very, very passive behavior. Fine. So which one do you think is the right behavior? So friends, in those situations, what we need to do, we need to go through the assertive behavior. What is assertive behavior? Assertive behavior includes honest, direct, and confident behavior that does not violate the right of others. Now, this is the best way we can behave in such situations. So normally as a salesperson, when we work in field, we face a lot of such scenarios happening, a lot of distractions, a lot of people talking to us, lot number of times we are confused, lot number of times we are doing self-talk, which is not positive and negative. So that time also you need to maintain your behavior as assertive behavior, which is very, very important in field. While talking to your customer, you should be very, very honest. You should be very, very, what I say, direct in communication, and it should feel like honest communication, right? So normally when I take my in-clinic sessions, I said, do not be a robot in front of a doctor. So many of the people I see, they are very good in product knowledge and the technical knowledge. And when they go to, for example, in pharmaceuticals to doctor or to their client, so they speak everything, but the client doesn't understand anything because they are speaking on a automated mode, just like telecom IVR. सो टेलीकॉम में हम क्या बोलते हैं, प्रीपेड के लिए एक दबाएं, पोस्टपेड के लिए दो दबाएं, बट एंड में कस्टमर क्या दबाता है, नो, बिकॉज ही वांट्स टू टॉक टू द कस्टमर केयर एग्जीक्यूटिव. Similarly, your behavior and your communication should be very, very humanized when you are talking to a customer, because otherwise there is no use of us as a salesperson in front of the customer, right? Fine. So since we are short of time, so this is the third part of the my topic, where I will be talking about the effective communication to the customer, right? So in the first part, I talk about the mindset, I talk about capability, I talk about competency and the self-talk. In the second part, I talk about the behavior. And now I talk about the very, very important elements of an effective presentation. Now, this presentation can either be virtually or this presentation can either be in front of a customer. So as a salesperson, as a sales rep, you need to have three basic elements understood. One is the presenting, second one is the content, and third one is the voice delivery. So uh, if I give you the exact what I say the parameters. So when I talk about content, when I talk about product, it should be very, very relevant. It should be informative. It should be in illustrative form. So it should be with an example, with some information which a customer can understand with an example, right? It should be factual. It should be fact-based, not just a theory. And it should be backed with a storytelling or anecdote or a testimonial of a previous customer. So when it comes to content, it needs to be very, very relevant, informative, illustrative, factual, and observation and anecdotes, right? Because you need to engage your customer. Very, very important thing is the presenter, means your body language. When it comes to body language, it is your grooming part, the way you stand, the way you sit, the way you talk to your customer, your attire, the grooming, and the listening skills. So many a times when I ask any of the sales representative about communication skills, he understand only the talking part, but not the listening part. So my dear friends, if I tell you the communication mix formula, so 93% is paraverbal and non-verbal. Only 7% is your words, what you speak. So in any of the communication, the role of non-verbal communication, which is your body language, which is your grooming, and paraverbal, which is your third one, voice delivery, tone, modulation, pause, language, volume, right? This is very, very important. So it is not important what you speak. It is very, very important how you speak. And that is the reason why in all the communication trainings, we talk a lot about non-verbal and paraverbal communication. I know most of the salespeople are very good in product knowledge and what we say the technical knowledge. But when it comes to the voice delivery, non-verbal communication or the paraverbal communication, we all as salesperson needs to work, not only at the frontline level, but up to the level of managers, up to the level of senior managers also. So this is one thing I want every salesperson to mug up by heart and to understand the importance of content, voice delivery, and presentability. This is very, very important. So I just want to share with you how you can keep your communication right. So communication can be divided into four parts. So communication should be simple, communication should be concrete, it should be beneficial, and it should have some credible message, right? So whenever you are creating a compelling message for your customer or consumer, or if you are doing one-on-one dialogue with your customer, so your message should be simple, very precise and understandable. It should have the benefit first. So every customer is not always interested in features. They also want to know the benefit part, and it should be very concrete and credible message. So every time you go to a customer or before meeting a customer, please have a look whether the communication or a message which I am giving to the customer is weighing right on these four criteria. Is my message simple? Is my message concrete? Is my message beneficial and credible too? Now, every message has a introduction, body, and end. So every message you need to divide it into three parts, right? So to construct a definitive structure, you should have an introduction. So what it is all about and why audience should listen to you. Explain the impact of what you are about to show them. So this is the introduction. So initial starters, initial conversation starters are very, very important. If in any of the communication which you do to the customer, if your introduction part is not good, you will not be able to make the impact in rest of the time. So very important, introduction should be talking about the product, what it is all about, why your audience or customer should listen, and what is the impact I will make through this product, either to your patient, either to your consumer, right? Second comes the body part, which is the actual message, which contains the features, benefits, everything. And then the end, when you do the summarization part. So here I'm talking a little bit about what I say the sales call structure. But mota, if you see, your message has to be very, very compelling, right? Your product communication has to be very, very compelling. And it is something which is not very, very random. You need to plan it. You need to write your script well in advance. That is one advice I give to every salesperson. Sales is not a random thing. Sales planning, scripting, writing down your script is very, very important. No matter what, if you do one call without having a proper plan and a script, that calls get failed. Your attempt get failed, right? So please make sure you have that introduction, you have that body, and you have that closing part, right? Again, three things very, very important for any of the salesperson, which is part of their non-verbal and paraverbal, is your appearance and grooming, right? I do not want to dig deep into this, but your appearance and grooming has to be best, right? Your appearance and grooming to the first customer and till the last customer has to be very, very consistent. I think everybody knows about appearance and grooming, so I do not want to give it a long lecture on this. But yes, your dress and shoes, your hair and face, your personal hygiene, and your accessories should be professional while dealing with the consumer. Second, very, very important is your body language, the way you do handshake, your gestures, your head, your eye contact, whether you are able to make the eye contact or not with your customers, or you are looking up or down. That makes your confidence is shaking. What is your standing stance, how you are standing, that matters a lot to your customer, right? He may or might not say on your face, but he observes every bit of your grooming, your body language, and the most important part is your paraverbal, which your pace, the pace at which you are communicating. Right. So currently my pace is slightly fast because I need to complete my presentation. But the number of words you speak in a minute is your pace. Right. So you need to adjust your pace according to your customer. Pitch, whether you are speaking at a high pitch or you are speaking at a low pitch. Most of the time, I noticed my salespeople speak very monologue, very dull, right? They do not find passion. So first you need to find passion in your product, and then you can show this energy, because energy get transformed and translated from one place to other place. So that for that energy, your pitch, your pace, your pronunciation, and your pauses, you need to take a pause, whether my customer is listening or not. Right. So speaking and listening both are very, very necessary in part of communication. Right? I hope this is very, very general, but it is very important as a salesperson that we put equal focus to the body language, voice, appearance, and grooming. Lot number of times I see a lot of technical sessions happening, but today now we see a lot of soft skill sessions happening only on grooming, only on what I say executive presence, only on the body language, and only on the non-verbal and paraverbal communication. Right? Moving ahead. Now, this is one another interesting topic I want to talk about. So I have talked about the in clinic, how you create the compelling message. Now there are four ways you can influence your customer or a consumer in the field, right? And for a matter of fact, you can influence anyone. So there are four levers of influencing, which I always use, right? So one of the lever is head, the second lever is heart, the third lever is body, and the fourth lever is support. So when you are trying to influence your customer, you need to use these four levers very effectively. Now you might be wondering what are those four levers. So let me give you the explanation for all those four levers. So the first is the head. So when you influence any person through head, so you use your logic, you use analytical findings, and you use fact-based or factual information to influence your customer. And how you do that? By knowledge, by comprehension, by evaluating, and by preparing for the same. Right? And how you do this? So for all the logical information you use to influence your customer, you pre-plan this, right? Or you do a post-call review. How my call went? Is the call went well or not? So this lever is used when you are more of logical minded. Second lever which you can use for influencing is heart. Now heart is more of feeling based, right? When you want to build interpersonal connections with your customer, it is more of emotions, right? So when you use this lever, you try to connect and make a better relationship with your customer, right? How this is seen in action? By sharing, by listening, by building rapport, right? By sharing feelings, right? And during in clinic conversation you can use more of relationship management. So this is more of heart as a lever. Third one is your body. So how can you use your body as a lever to influence your customer? So body is nothing but your body language. How confident you are, how groomed you are looking, whether you are speaking with a clear voice, is there a clarity in your voice, or you are doing a monologue with your customers, right? How is your eye contact? Is it maintaining with the customer, or it's going up, down, here and there? That shows less confidence. Whether you are smiling while giving your message or communication to the customer, right? Same which we discussed in the body language, right? So, and the last one is support. Now, support is very, very important as a lever to influence your customer. How? In terms of the support you have in your system. Either it is your manager, either it is your, what I say, the facts and the figures, the factual information you share with the customers, or either the testimonials. So this lever is also very, very important for some of the clients who need extra information about your product, about your industry, about your company. So all the information which is there on the internet, all the information which is there on the company URL, the differential, what I say, unique differential pointers. So everything you can use as a support. So please make sure when you are um, trying to influence your customer, you are using these four levels. Head means analytical, heart means emotions, body means your body language, your smile and grooming, and support means the external support. Support can be in terms of your manager supporting you in terms of converting the call, right? So I think these levers also play a big role in conversion of your customer. So one is the message, which I've talked about, which is a very, very compelling message. And second is the four levers. So I'm just giving you a template how you can prepare this and you can use for influencing your customers. So before meeting any of the customer, you should know what should be the possible outcome I am looking for this call. What do I want to get out of the meeting? So every salesperson has to be very, very clear on the outcome part. And then you need to point out head, heart, support, and body. What are the levers which you will be using in your next 10 calls to convert your customer into a successful conversion? So very, very important. Everybody, we as salesperson, we use one of the lever as our main preference. So I may be good in using my heart. I may be good in building relationship, right? But my analytical part is not very strong. My body language is good, but I do not share more documents or testimonials with the doctor. So what you can do, you can write down all the four levers, and in all the four levers, which is your best tool to influence your doctor, which can be your strength, and what are your weakness and opportunities. In that way, you can use all the four levers to influence your customer. So by practice, a time will come that all the four levers can be used to influence your customer. Right. So if time allows, there is one more thing. I think this is very, very important. I do not want to escape. Emotions also play a very important role in our day-to-day life while meeting customer, while attending reviews and meetings, while taking a setback in terms of target not completed. So a lot of times emotions play a good role in our successful and unsuccessful life. So either you control emotions or emotions control you. I think this is a very, very powerful line, and I think many of us can relate to this. So either you are taking emotions in your grip, or either you are in trap of emotions. Very, very important. Feeling can be anything. So there are different emotions which come at different point of time. A conversation with a manager after you successfully manage a flawless event. So you are at a seventh, what I say, heaven. So you are feeling very, very happy. Again, you are conversation with the manager and you did not achieve your target. You are feeling low. Right. So there are positive emotions and there are negative emotions. Negative emotions are fear, anger, rejection, dejection. Positive is hope, pride, joy. So you need to control your emotions also at work, which is very, very important. So you need to be very, very, what I say, self-aware of your emotions. And how you can do that framework is managing the social skills, how you maintain your social quotient, self-regulating yourself, motivating yourself, and having an eye of empathy. I think that is one framework which I use for managing emotions. I think this is very, very important. So these are some of the things I tried to convey today in this meeting. A few things as a salesperson, as a sales training manager, I want to share with you all is that there are some very, very good books which you all can go and read. One is the Strength Finder, which is from Donald O. Clifton, and it talks about your strength, the most positive strength. So I want everyone to read this book. Second one is Psychology of Selling by Dr. Brian Tracy. And then there is a book called Spin Selling by Neil Rackman. I think these are some of the good books which gives clarity to all of us. Even I read these books till today to get updated on same. So that's all from my side. I am open to questions. Thank you, team at Nest, for giving this opportunity. I'm open to the questions.
Thank you, sir. It was a very powerful session indeed. I think you have covered almost all the aspects of having a psychological side of how to give a product a good sale. So let us take the questions.
Thank
We
you.
have a lot of questions in the live chat. So the first question says, "What's the one mindset shift that separates average salesperson from the top 1% performers?"
Come again.
Okay. So the
What is the?
questions What's the one mindset shift that separates average salesperson from the top 1% top performers?
Okay, I think very good question. I do not get time to cover this. So when I was in Cipla, we were developing the coaching model, and when we go deep into this, so I don't know the name of a person, but I just want to say, so there is a very thin line of difference between an average performer and a high performer. So uh, if you closely evaluate a high performer or an average performer, so there are few things which are very visible in high performers. They ask questions better than average performers. They are very clear in their pitches when they go to the field in terms of communication, right? So if I give you a data wise answer, a high performer asks 9 times better questions that than an average performer, right? So there is a very thin line which separates an average performer from the best performer, right? So best performer asks questions more. His body language, grooming, and the other parts are good. In terms of technical knowledge or product knowledge, you will find both the people are same, right? So I think these are some of the things which separates a average performer from a best performer. Yes.
All right, sir. Let's have another question. It says, if, sir, if you could improve one part of the sales process happening today, what will you change?
If you include
If you could improve one part of the sales process happening today, what will you change?
uh, I think this is a very valid question. There are multiple things, but I think one part which I can improve, which is already in the process, is the automation part. See, as a sales training manager, I am involved in a lot of sales excellence project. So one thing we can definitely improve is in terms of monitoring and evaluation, in terms of evaluating our team members, in terms of not only working on the lag parameters, but also on the lead parameters. When I say lag parameters, most of our performance reviews are based on performance numbers, but we should also evaluate and monitor the what I say the effort of a sales
Yeah, of
individual.
course.
So I want to improve the automation part. I want to focus more in terms of effort based outcomes rather than only the numbers, because conventionally orthodox, if we see, we are more talking about numbers in the business meetings and not talking about the efforts.
Of
We are
course.
blaming the individual and we are not blaming the process, right? And I think one important thing which I need to highlight, because that is a very separate topic I couldn't cover, I think coaching in the real time basis by the immediate manager is very important. So most of the classroom trainings which we do, so the impact remains for some time, but actually the immediate manager or the manager has to take the onus and accountability to improve the competency at the field level through structured coaching. Now most of the organizations today I see, they have their inbuilt what I say the coaching process inbuilt with the SFA structure, and that is how every day when we go into the field as a salesperson, the manager evaluate our process and share the feedback also. So that is one way we can improve as a sales team. I think this is very necessary.
Okay. Uh, there's another question, and I think this is also a very valid one. It says most of the time in the sales process we face humiliation, maybe by the customer, and or we can take both aspects here, sir. I guess from the customer, and also like when a lot of telecallers call and we just disconnect the call. One could be this way also, and somewhere, as you mentioned, in the basis on the basis of performance also from our managers or senior authorities as well. So it says, how do we overcome this challenge of humiliation?
Challenge of what?
Humiliation sometimes in the sales process.
Humiliation. Okay. Okay. I think the point is valid. I have gone through all 20 years, the first 7 years, I've gone through the same challenge, through the same wind. And that is the reason I took in last for 5 minutes talking about the emotions. I think one thing which I see, the only way to improve in this and to not go through the humiliation phase is to improve ourselves in terms of our mindset, in terms of understanding our strength and the capabilities which we need to build, right? Because most of the times we are working only as a layman in terms of like, this is my work and this is how I am doing. And when things are not achieved, we face humiliation, right? many a times from the customer, and also we get a lot of objections, we get a lot of thrashing, especially when you are talking in case of inbound and outbound calls. But the perfect way is to make sure that your your ammunition is well prepared, whether it is you are the verbal or the non-verbal part, whether it is the product knowledge, or whether it is your mindset, right? Because I know in game of selling, every time you will not win. So I was talking about soccer in the beginning. So every time you will not score. Sometimes you will lose also. But how to capitalize it and do a positive self-talk is very, very important. That is the reason, my friend, I am telling sales is a game which is not only the process game, it is more of a mindset game. Right. So improve yourself day by day, emotionally, in terms of product knowledge, in terms of what I say, your mindset, and then only. I know there are chances you will feel such cases, but when you apply these things, this will slightly go down. And with experience, you will learn this. Right. This will not happen automatically, but yes, with experience, you will be able to overcome this.
All right, sir. There is another question. It says, how do you bounce back mentally after losing a deal you have invested months in? Am I audible to you, sir?
Sorry, there was some network issue.
It's okay, sir. I'll come again. It says, how do you bounce back mentally when after losing a deal that you have invested your months in?
Okay. See, that is the reason today's session was not on any of the product processes or any of the structured call. See, so whenever we face rejection, so there is a lot of self-talk which is going, right? And this is the level 3 which I talked about, which is our core, which is our identity. Now, the problem with our core is I do not want to discuss my core with yourself, right? This self-talk is going in my mind. So every time there is a negative self-talk, you need to convert it into positive, because ultimately if you continuously doing what I say negative self-talk, you will fall into this vicious cycle of what I say under going under confidence, right? And things, in spite of improving, that will go down. I think the best way is to talk, communicate with your manager, communicate with your mentor or your friend very clearly where are the things where I am not going right, right? I think communication is the key when it comes to these sort of cases. That is how you can improve these things. So, but very important is your mental toughness, your core, which is level 3. So your self-talk has to be positive. I know in sales, that is the reason level 3, which is your self-talk, is very, very important. Do not go into that area of negative self-talk, right? So if you are going in your head number of questions, tomorrow what will happen, my boss will thrash me, everything will go wrong. No, please come out of that, sit, watch TV, go outside, but do not remain in that self-talk. So I think this is more of a mindset game, and with experience you will learn these things that will improve.
Of course. We'll take the next question. Here, Rashmi asks, when meeting a new client, what's the fastest way to build trust without sounding salesy?
Very interesting question. I think when you are meeting a new client, so the most important thing is start your meeting before meeting a client 1 week back. Right. So for example, if I want to go for an interview for a top MNC company, I start preparing till today, I start preparing I think 1 week back. So if you are meeting a new client, see what is the client industry, what are his needs, why he is calling us, what is the competitor advantage, what is my advantage, what is my unique differential, right? Prepare a script in advance, right? Do not only go by the features, but look what is the problem area, what is the problem statement which he is looking for. And when you are going into actual call, please ask open-ended questions, right? When I say open-ended questions which can give you a lot more of information, what is the problem of the customer, rather than just started pitching your project, talking about features, advantage, and benefit. Wait, start with probing, right? So we have not discussed probing in today's session, but it is very, very important. Meeting new client, you should know everything which is there on the landscape. मेरा client क्या है, क्या बनाता है, क्या करता है, everything you should know. And when you are going meeting, talk about what is the problem statement, what is the solution he is looking, and then pitch your project with a benefit. If you are able to do so, do not directly go on to close and ask for a demand unless and until the customer asks that your product is able to solve his problem. So I think being authentic is very, very important in the business of sales. Many a times we sound very, very pushy. We sound very, very, what we say, salesperson है
Eager
ये तो
to
अपना
sell
बेचना
our
है.
product.
No.
Yeah. Eager to sell our product. Like we are very eager to, just make a deal, just confirm
Yes,
this
yes,
deal so
yes.
that the client is.
So we are not selling products. We are selling solutions. So if I am able to solve your problem, I am selling my solution. So if my product has no name, I have only solutions. If it is matching with your problem, my product is solved. So that is how the customer looks like today, right? So things have changed. There is a lot of automation. Now you have CRM systems. Now you have lead management systems. You get a lot of information beforehand, right? So I think the best thing is to prepare well while meeting the first customer in terms of all these pointers. Good question asked. Thank you.
Okay, another question says, how can understanding personality dimensions improve our sales team dynamics?
Okay. See, I think understanding about the personality that is very, very important. So this self-awareness identifies your strength and weakness. This allows us to adapt our pitch and connect better with client. So for example, if we are able to understand the personality of our client also, right, what he is looking for, so we can adjust our pitch, our tone, and we can connect better with the clients, right? So rational is sales is all about human interaction. When you are aware of your own style, you can adjust and resonate with the customer well, right? So very, very important to know your personality, your strength, because all the communication and all the message which you create is based on the personality and the traits in which you find yourself comfortable. I think this is very, very important to understand your strength area and the area where you need to build. So once you have your L1, which is your inner strength, मतलब आपका जो पर्सनालिटी है, मौका मिले तो आप वैसे ही करेंगे, एंड यू डेवलप योर कैपेबिलिटी, जरूरत पड़े तो, और ये दोनों अगर मैच करते हैं जहां पे आपका स्वीट स्पॉट बनता है, तो आपके चांसेस 4 और 6 होने के ज्यादा हैं. 4 और 6 से मेरा मतलब है कस्टमर कन्वर्जन के चांसेस आपके ज्यादा हैं. सो इट्स गुड टू नो अबाउट L1, L2 and to improve your self-talk, which is L3. So this really help in successful conversions, especially for tough customers, especially for new customers, right? So this will surely help.
Okay, sir, we will take this last question. I know you all have a lot of questions. Just post them in the comment section, and me, my team, or sir will get back to you. Till then, we are taking this last question. It says, what's your advice for handling price objections when you know your product offers high, more value, but costs more?
uh, Actually, I am getting slightly less voice. What's your
Okay.
advice on cost?
It say, what's your advice for handling price objections when you know your product offers more value but costs more?
Okay, so this is the objection related the price, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Typical, I'm a pharmaceutical and diagnostic person. When I was in sales, I also worked in telecom. So, of course, especially in the pharmaceutical sector, a lot of doctor, when you go into tier two, tier three towns, a lot of doctors talk about price. कि भाई मैनकाइंड की 2 रुपए की गोली आती है और आपकी 5 रुपए की गोली आती है तो मैं क्यों लिखूं, right?
Right.
So many a times you face this problem. So the best answer is what I gave. So I was selling antibiotic called levofloxacin, Elsin. So I told doctor, your reputation is also at stake. If you write a tablet which is rupees 2 and your patient doesn't get benefit in 5 days, the patient will not come back to you. Similarly, same antibiotic you need to write for 5 days only, and my tablet costs 5 rupees. So customer will give 25 rupees instead of rupees 10, but he will get he get relief faster, and he will come back to you, right? So yes, so this is one way of tackling. The other way, so doctor will always raise the objections of price when he doesn't want to write. Sometimes it is more of a objection just not to write your product, just not to take your product, right? So this is just an objection. This is not like that. The doctor is not writing other what I say very costly products. Doctor is writing, but he is putting objection just to stop you because he might be writing some other company product. So he doesn't want to write at present your product. So objection can be because of that also. See, objections are not always real. Some objections are just to stop you, right? So please understand. So if you want to remove that objection, just say, sir, the patient is equally important to you also. So with our product, there are these benefit to your patient. And since the medicine will go only for the 5 days, so it doesn't make a much of difference. But yes, it always make a lot of difference to your customer life, to your patient life. He will be recovered faster, right? So there are a number of ways you can deal with. I don't think so. Price is a very major issue. It becomes an issue only when the doctor wants to do not want to write your product and he is already writing somebody else's product of the same molecule. That is the reason.
All right, sir. Now we will put an end to this session. Thanks to you, we have already exceeded 15 minutes of limits. But I think this is a
Yeah, yeah.
very phenomenal session, and it was very learning for everyone. And before we wrap up today's session, I would just want all of you to remember, as sir had described in the whole session, that it's not about what you're selling or what product are you selling. It's about how you present yourself and what is the trust and the kind of trust you build up with the client. So, sir, any last piece of advice that you have for my lovely audiences who have been sitting from the starting?
Uh, I think my piece of advice is be positive. Sales is a profession which can take you from the what I say. See, I started from medical rep and I reached to the level of head training and learning and development. So sales is one function which gives you 360-degree view of an organization. If you work in finance, if you work in what I say purchase, if you work in HR, you will not get the clear idea about the organization. But once you work in sales, you get 360-degree view. You get to know about all the departments, you get to know about product well, you get to know about people well, and you get exposed to the extreme market conditions. That makes you a better person. And remember me, most of the CEOs are made from sales only and not from purchase or anything. So if you are in sales, remain motivated, work hard, you will rise to success. Thank you. Best wishes to all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, and to everyone who has been part of this session. I hope that what you have learned today, you will put it into action. And if you love these kinds of webinars, as you always do, you write to us. I will. We get motivated to learn that you have been, benefited from all these sessions. So keep writing to us if you would like us to bring any kind of webinar for you, as we bring webinars each week, all on different topics. So stay connected with Education Nest, follow our YouTube channel, subscribe to it, hit the bell icon so that you get notified when our webinar goes live. And before I sum up, I would like to wish all of you a very happy Raksha Bandhan on behalf of Education Nest. Celebrate well, and I, Aisha Mishra, you want to wish them, sir?
Yeah, happy Raksha Bandhan to all, and the remaining part of the year, do well, do your targets, achieve your targets. I want everyone to achieve the incentives, right? So, so do commitment to yourself. Happy Raksha Bandhan to all. Thank you, bye.
Thank you, everyone. And I, Aisha Mishra, will meet you again next week in the next webinar. Till then, stay connected. Goodbye.